Once again, I bring you the yellow color of gold. This is going to be a curious one, where we show some extreme coins. From one of the largest gold coins ever struck for normal circulation to one of the smallest ones. Today, we are looking at a numismatic masterpiece struck by the Ptolemaic kings of Egypt, a very curious emergency issue from the Etruscans, a piece struck by one of the Roman Republic's most formidable enemies, and a mysterious gold coin no one really knows a whole lot about, apart from some speculations. Well, let's get started. We begin today's golden journey in the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, consistently throughout antiquity one of the most prosperous regions, due to its very fertile lands, thanks to the Nile, and its privileged position as a crossroads between Asia, Africa, and Europe. Let's go to a particularly splendorous moment in Egypt's history, the reign of the King Ptolemy II. If you think about Ptolemaic Egypt, probably the first things that come to mind are the Lighthouse of Alexandria and the Library of Alexandria, both wonders built by Ptolemy II. But this illustrious king was also responsible for the striking of the biggest gold coin meant for widespread circulation. We need to slow down here and give this coin a proper look. There are so many impressive things about it that it's hard to even begin. So, first, its sheer size. At around 27.7 grams of gold and 27 millimeters wide, this is nearly an ounce of very well-refined gold. This was the largest and heaviest gold used in the ancient world that was part of a monetary standard. I mean, other bigger coins existed, like Roman and Greek medallions that could be used on commerce, but these were special pieces, meant to be prizes or special issues. Not this one we're looking at. This is an octadrachma, also known as a mnaion. Don't get fooled by the name octadrachma, which sounds like 8 drachma. This coin is worth a full 100 drachma, or what is called a silver mina. The mina was a unit of account, a standardized weight, often a weight of silver, used on major commerce, transactions between nobility and kings, and any kind of major commerce or transaction. So this is what makes this coin impressive. A mina was a small fortune, and it is all concentrated in a single coin. This is the money of the big ancient aristocracy. Whoever had this coin in their hands or traded it for something was someone very influential. Okay, how much money are we talking about? Well, let's take a Greek hoplite as an example. These were the main soldiers of the Greek armies, very well equipped, full rights citizens that received a respectable daily wage. This coin could pay for 50 days of service for a hoplite. If we go to the lower ranks of society, like a manual laborer or a farmer, now we're talking about 100 days of work, nearly a third of an entire year of labor. The sheer existence of this coin was only truly possible due to Egypt's key location. Such a big gold coin would be unthinkable on the main European continent, as there simply wasn't enough gold around to mint these coins in any significant numbers. Egypt's position allowed for gold to flow from more abundant regions like Asia and particularly so Africa, and of course, few places had the intense commerce that Egypt had that would even justify the existence of such a high-value coin. And as you can see, this coin has a lot of portraits. Being a coin worthy of royalty, it was meant to also reinforce the imagery of the new Greek kings to the local Egyptian elite. So on the obverse, we see the bust of Ptolemy II and his wife, Arsinoe II, which, surprise surprise, in good Egyptian pharaoh style, was his sister. The short legends on the top read Adelphon, or brother lovers, which sounds odd, but we need to keep historical context in mind. And on the reverse, Ptolemy II wanted to connect himself as much as possible to his incredibly successful father and founder of his dynasty, Ptolemy I. Here we can see the bust of the first Ptolemy side by side with his wife, Berenice, and both have been fully deified, as we can see also from the legends on the top. Theon, literally gods. And since we're looking at the largest gold coin, we're going to keep at the same time period, around the 300s BC, but we're going to switch completely. We're going to go to one of the smallest ancient gold coins. We are leaving the Hellenistic world behind us and heading to the Italian peninsula, where by that time, the Roman Republic was still an up-and-coming power. To the north of Rome, the Romans would find their first big enemy, the Etruscans, a league of cities which for centuries opposed Rome and represented a threat to their expansion north. This piece, struck between 300 and 250 BC, was minted already at the end of the Etruscan resistance. The issuing of gold was not common at all during this time at the region, being generally reserved for emergencies when reserve funds had to be drawn from somewhere. This is one of such coins. By that time, the main coin used was the as, a big bronze piece used by both Romans and Etruscans alike. So this is a 10 as coin, probably issued as an emergency coinage. It is very impractical for such a small piece to even be struck, so this must have been issued to pay the troops and mercenaries in a situation of shortage of silver and bronze. So let's take a look at this tiny little thing. On the obverse, we have a small male head with a laurel crown. Who is this man? We really do not know. Considering the emergency of the issue, it was probably a design just chosen as a stopgap, something to strike on a gold coin. By looking at similar coins of the time, my guess would be either Hercules or a young depiction of Zeus. We also have a denomination mark behind the bust, a numeral 10, marked by the X. The reverse, on the other hand, is blank. The Etruscan had this peculiarity. Their coins are only struck on one side, which is a shame. Etruscan art is pretty unique and different to the Roman one, despite their geographic proximity. So I feel like this is a bit of a wasted opportunity for a nice design. But hey, this was an emergency issue. And since we are talking about the enemies of Rome, let's look at another coin. Let's head east once again to the kingdom of Pontus, where between 88 and 63 BC, Mithridates was a constant thorn in the Roman hopes of expansion, dragging Rome into 3 separate conflicts that greatly stalled their progress invading the overall Greek world. Mithridates' imperial ambitions included the entirety of Asia Minor, where he galvanized anti-Roman sentiments to his cause, recruiting mercenaries and regular troops, and he had to pay for these men's service. In a nice propagandistic move, which shows how it really pays to know your history, he took inspiration on the old tetradrachma of King Lysimachus, the old king of Thrace and the successor of Alexander the Great, as an inspiration for the design of his gold coin. As a result, from what we can see on the obverse, we have an exact copy of the old tetradrachma, just smaller and in gold. We can see the deified bust of Alexander the Great with the horns of Ammon Zeus, the Egyptian interpretation of the king of the gods. The reverse is also a perfect copy from the tetradrachma. We see Athena seated on a kind of throne, her shield and spear close to her, ready to defend the Greek world. She's also seen holding a tiny Nike, or victory as the Greeks would call them. And Nike can be seen crowning the name of Lysimachus. How interesting, a coin struck in the name of someone that has been dead for some 200 years, all for the sake of increasing Mithridates' legitimacy. The legends, as mentioned, read, Basileus Lysimachou, of King Lysimachus. The only really noticeable difference between the coin and the original tetradrachma was basically the small trident at the bottom under Athena's throne. Now for our last coin of the day, how about a bit of a numismatic mystery? We still don't know for certain who issued this particular coin. All we know is that these were found exclusively in the region of modern-day Romania, pointing to the issuing of these coins in the area, historically called Dacia. Let's have a look at the coin and try to draw some conclusions from it. So in the obverse we see 3 figures, all 3 of them wearing togas, which implies they are probably Roman figures, and 2 of them hold something. Well, we can already determine this coin has something to do with the Romans. These 2 men are lictors, bodyguards and helpers of important Roman figures. We can determine their position as lictors by the fasces they would carry around when in service. Under the 3 men, we see the Greek word koson. Now we need to theorize, what does the region of modern-day Romania has to do with a figure called koson, and this figure had to do something with the Romans? The first theory is that a certain Dacian king, Cotiso, or Koson, rose to power at the region. He was one of the allies of Brutus, one of Caesar's assassins, and this was one of the coins issued jointly by Brutus and Koson to pay for his troops. Another theory says that this coin was actually issued by Brutus himself. The Koson could be in reality an abbreviation of kos, consul, and on, which was used to say from the consul, in a sense stating that these coins were made by the consul to the Dacian soldiers. In both cases, this helps us nail down the date of this coin at between 50 and 25 BC. When we go to the reverse, then it fully identifies itself as a Roman, because this is a typical Roman design. We see the Roman eagle, she's perched over a scepter, so the symbol of power, and she also grasps a laurel wreath with her other talon. So the classical Roman imagery of the Republic represented by the eagle being the true wielder of power. From massive gold coins nearly an ounce heavy to minuscule pieces slightly over half a gram, gold coins come in all shapes, sizes, diameters, and weights. How about you, collectors? Have you got a gold coin? Share with us what you have in the comments down below. And please, consider leaving a like in this video and subscribing in case you liked it. It really helps. I hope you have a golden day, happy collecting, and see you all soon.